Hey everybody, how's it going? This is RHouse21 here, and it's time for another unboxing. So, for those of you who have been following me on social media, you know that I just had a little mishap with my brand new Castle Mamba XL2 ESC. So, I did a patch job, actually did an interesting modification to, the failure was the two caps that are on the front of the ESC blew out. That's apparently a very common failure with those ESCs, but it happened to me on the very first test run. Now, granted, I was beating the crap out of it, so I kind of did it to myself. However, you know, you live and learn. So I actually sent that ESC back to Castle, have them take a look at it, because after I did my patch job to replace the two caps on the front with a quick connect so I can put in one of my custom cap packs, I noticed that the ESC was actually taking some very strange data. So it looked like there was something else wrong with it. So I sent it back to them, take a look at it. But in the meantime, to get me back up and running, because I only have a couple more weeks, well, maybe a few more weeks left in the season to try to get some good numbers with Dizzy. So I went ahead and grabbed this guy, and let's see what's in the box. And underneath all this packaging material, yeah, that's a lot of packaging material, we have, ta-da, this is Castle Creations Mamba XL X ESC. So externally, this thing is pretty much near identical to an XL2 ESC, except for like one really big notable exception. If you look on the front here, you have this monster cap pack soldered right to the board. Okay, so one of the big differences between a Mamba XL X and the XL2 ESC is the fact that the XL X actually has a much beefier BEC built in. BEC, for those who don't know, stands for Battery Eliminator Circuit. So that's kind of a throwback to the old days where for the Nitro guys, you actually had to carry a separate battery to power your electronics. So here, with a lot of the electronic speed controllers, they actually have a built-in power supply that will provide essentially servo level power. The Mambas are nice in that they actually will let you change the output level of that BEC. So you can go from, I think, like 5 volts up to like maybe 8 volts or something like that. I'll splice in the exact voltage range. But the nice thing about this thing is that it actually has a 20 amp BEC. That's pretty big, because I think the last generation had like a 5 or an 8 amp BEC. So when you start to pull the big digital servos that can actually pull a lot of power, and this is a 5th scale ESC. So, because this is a 5th scale ESC, those cars can have some truly massive servos. So they need to have the ability to have a lot of power. And you know, a lot of guys just ran an external BEC to take care of that. Now you don't have to do that. You have everything inside this big monster of an ESC. But the other thing I was mentioning is the fact that if you look at this, you have this ginormous cap pack stuck on here from the factory. So if I let's take a look and see if I can read what the values of these things are. So these are 820 microfarad capacitors, and you can see here that this daughter board has 4 stuck on, and then you have way down in there you have 1500 microfarad capacitors stuck to the very front of the ESC. So assuming that these are wired like the old like the XL2s were, these were all basically just going in parallel. So not to get too technical on you, so this is essentially making a higher order high pass filter actually it's a higher order low pass filter, which so the different caps, the different values would actually kick in at different levels, and that will give you the effect of having a broader spectrum filtering capability to try to squash your ripple current or your ripple voltage. So this in itself is a pretty substantial improvement over the old design. So from talking to the guys at Castle, he said, adding these to the XLX, the failure rates have gone down significantly. So that's all good stuff. Other big things between the XLX and the XL2, you'll see that you now have this RX and auxiliary wire off of here. Now what that lets you do is you can actually use the auxiliary wire connected to channel 3 on your radio. And many of us have 3-channel radios and we don't use that 3rd channel for anything. So this allows you to actually set up the 3rd channel to do something useful. And you can have it do a variety of user configurable things. I have mine engaged drag brake. So one of the downsides of having really low friction ceramic bearings in the car is that if you don't have any drag brake turned on, the thing will just roll forever. And sometimes you want it to roll, sometimes you don't. So by using my 3rd channel to switch on drag brake, I can basically use it like a parking brake. So if I'm at the end of a run and I don't want the car to move around, it just will stay positioned. But you can have it set up to do all sorts of stuff. You can have it clear data logs. You can have it, control the maximum speed that the ESC will deliver. There's lots of different options. So this is a nice add. Again, it's one of those things that you don't really think you'll use until you actually use it. And then once you use it, you think it's great. So, thumbs up, or hats off to Castle. For everything I've read, this thing is a beast, and it's a significant design improvement over what the XL2 was. So I'm very happy to have it. I'm going to be dropping this guy in Dizzy, and we'll be seeing what Dizzy can do with, with this monster as its new heart. And while I'm talking about this, a couple other little features. So you notice you got nice big silicone wire out the front here. This is 8-gauge wire. Again, going to the batteries, you have nice thick 8-gauge wire as well. You have 8mm connectors that are going to the actual batteries, and that's just the standard for 5th scales. Interestingly enough, I talked to Castle because I noticed a lot of the speed run guys are going to 8mm bullet connectors, and they're swearing by it. Now, the guys at Castle don't know if they've seen any real data to show that for a drag and a speed run application, the 8mm will make much of a difference, but they don't hurt. So I'm going to be sticking with 6.5mm just because that's what I have on all my cars. So, and honestly, this is going in an 8th scale running on the 6S LiPo. So for that application, I think that my the 6.5mm Castle connectors that I'm running should be just fine. If I see that I'm having a problem, and I'll be able to tell from looking at the data logs, then I can always swap out to something else later. One thing that I do not like about this ESC is just the fact that you still have to connect this separate separate power line, and I run a lot of auxiliaries, so I'm actually kind of short power connectors. So I'm gonna have to rig up something, probably just a little Y connector in order to get power for something else on this. The Mamba X ESC actually pulls power from internally, so that would have been a kind of nice thing to do, but it is what it is. All right, guys, so the next video we'll actually see this guy plugged in and running in Dizzy, and hopefully we'll be able to see some big stuff from it. All right, guys, so RHouse21 signing out. Remember the mantra: fly, fix, fly, break it, fix it, do it all over again. Oh, one last thing before I forget. So even though this thing comes with this monster cat pack, I'm still going to wire up one of my cat packs. So what I'm probably going to do is just wire it up. So I just pick up all these connections here, I mean, let's see. I don't want to have to disturb this heat shrink, but I have more heat shrink. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wire up my own cat pack connection, and you know, yeah, I'm just going to pick off of this and then reheat shrink it. And even though I think this is going to have tons of ripple protection, I'll be able to see if I can make a better situation even better. All right, so again, as always, remember the mantra: fly, fix, fly, break it, fix it, do it over again. As you can see, I've been doing a lot of breaking, but also a lot of fixing. So this guy, I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I want to be able to collect some really good data with this thing. All right, guys, our host 21 signing out. Peace.